on the website.
There we go. It's in the 350, 450 range.
Yeah, something like that.
If you didn't hear that, that was they're in the 350 to 450 range. Great opportunity. I know from years of my dad doing classes at his shop. The classes would be 1,000, 1,200. So what we offer the guild, even though sometimes $350 is not something that I can spend flippantly at all, but the value that you get with the skills that you make, a craftsman that we have, it's still a pretty amazing deal if you think about what it would cost to go to Mark Adams or something to that and spend a week lodging. Anyway, if it works out well, you can get a great value. The Chris McCauley handles all of our AV, does an awesome job. So another person that we always have to thank. Could you use help?
No, we had some audio issues on the live stream a minute ago, so that's what I've been working on. But no, we're good.
Okay. And then Chris has got some events planning. We're probably going to be working out a few events over the next few weeks. So look for some announcements soon. There's potential of another mill and grill like we had a few months ago. So look for that. That'll probably be October if it gets put together.
The upcoming events that are in the works, in October we're going to have looks like we're going to have another mill and grill out at L&K. In November we're going to have the Santa's workshop. So if you want to, more information will be coming on that starting in August on becoming a vendor and selling and volunteering for that. And then in December we'll have our Christmas party.
Awesome. So good stuff to coming out to enjoy and to volunteer and serve, help put those events together. So there's Jim Berard in membership. We're at 874 members at the moment. And anything else to? All right, moving on quickly. One of my goals as president of the guild is to make meetings fast. So hey, I'm good when we can keep moving. Programs, Matt, do you have any updates for us?
Yeah, tonight will be Flourish Furnishings. I'm really looking forward to that. Jim Baney is the one to put us on for that. But in what's this, July? So next month is August. And okay, I can't remember. Fred Arnold, one of our wood carvers. He's going to demonstrate how to carve a face. It gets really technical about how far apart you put the eyes, and I mean there's just a lot of mathematics involved in doing it properly. And Fred's going to explain that for us in August. So I'm really looking forward to that. The Windsor chair guy, if you want a really lightweight, probably the most comfortable Windsor chair you have ever sat in, you really need to take this class. The rocking chair is just unbelievable. It's really great. I mean, it's worth the money. You couldn't buy it for the price you'd pay for the class. You would not be able to buy that rocking chair in a store for that price. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the Windsor chairs.
Awesome, thanks. I think the programs have been outstanding the last few months, so appreciate the work you've been put on. Yeah. Safety, Steve Venny, our leader of our safety, says that our safety orientation is scheduled for Saturday, August 13th. That's our next one coming up. He's always looking for more people on the safety committee. Any other thing to add, Steve? I know I saw Steve earlier. We have prices for the classes.
Okay, the kitchen stool, if you're a sawdust maker, it's $360. If you're a woodworker plus, $288. The side chair is $475 and $380. An armchair is $545 and $436. And the rocker is $610 and $488. And I also forgot we have Dan Rubidoux teaching carving the American kestrel. So there's stuff available.
Yeah, there's some great ones out there. if you all haven't seen Dan's work on the bird carving, it's amazing. Is there a skill builder scheduled?
No, anybody wants to volunteer for it.
So we're looking for volunteers every month. We have a skill builder on the first Saturday of the month. And Craig's laughing about a ball and claw. We just did a ball and claw 2 months ago. So, hey, that's off the books. So anybody who wants to step up and volunteer to do a skill builder, and that's one of my favorite things at the Guild, where someone does a couple of hour seminar that's free. You don't need to be a member. You don't need to have a green card. You just need to show up and learn from someone who usually is either an enthusiast, an expert, or just learns a new skill, and it's really fun to learn something like that with pretty much no strings attached. Sponsorship, Dwayne has items in the back for raffle. So at the break, if you haven't, there's also shirts. So we want to be selling our Woodworkers Guild apparel. Obviously, I need to step up my game. Okay. I've got my safety orange. I was on the job site today. In the summertime, it's nice to not have to wear a vest. But we also have Amazon Smile. So we've announced this at every meeting. But if you're shopping on Amazon, if you go to smile.amazon.com, they ask for the charity of your choice, and you can donate 1% of your purchase back to the Guild. And we have made dozens of dollars that way over the last couple of years. So, yeah, 800. We're probably getting closer to 1,000 now. So, it's not changing the tax bracket, but $1,000 is nice. So we appreciate that if you can remember that. I know most of us probably do shop on Amazon from time to time, and if you search for the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, you can take a picture of that. But if you search for Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, it will go there as well. Yeah, please do. Now the time we offer a chance for all of our SIGs, which are our special information groups, to talk about what's going on. So first, wood carving. Dan, do you want to come talk about what's going on with the wood carvers?
Well, my name is Dan Ribideau, and the SIG is going to meet the fourth Tuesday of every month. We meet right in here for a couple hours. We start from 6 to about 8. And anybody can come. You got any issues that you're trying to work with, we're here to help you. We have 3 areas. That's power carving, and then traditional carving, and then we have pyrography, which is wood burning. I also want to just remind you that I am going to be doing this class, a class on this kestrel that's coming up. I only take 4 people because I work with people very closely, and you do have a finished bird when you're done. But if you're interested in it, there's still a couple spots still available. You give me a shout, give me a call, we'll talk about it, or whatever you want to do, and you'll enjoy it because it's a whole new world. This is something I'll be working on in the class at the SIG, but this is a Paraquin Falcon, and there's a lot to it. There's the stoning involved and burning involved, and then there's feet construction. There's a lot to it. But this is what I'll be working on. If you got any questions on anything, just come and see us.
Sounds good. Thank you. Next, yes, sir.
How much artistic talent do you have to?
So the question is, how much artistic talent do you need?
I start with people that have zero talent. It is easier to train somebody that has no predetermined ways of doing things. There's a correct way, there's an approach. No bad habits. That's right. That's right. And every carver, it's like I have my way and everybody else's. There's my way and everybody else's. Every carver has their way and everybody else's. You learn to work with what works for you. I mean, you learn your skill. Whatever works for you, that's the way you do it, because that's your way. And there's a lot of ways of doing it. But all roads lead to Rome.
That's good. Zero talent. That describes a lot of people. Not the people in this room, though. Most of the people are extremely talented. CNC SIG. Is there anything, Gary, you want to talk about the CNC SIG? That meets on the third Tuesday of the month from 6:30 to 7:30. That's led by Gary and Ed Stewart. Hand Tools SIG. That meets on the fourth Sunday of the month from 2 to 4. Rob, do you have anything to talk about? Wayne Peterson, what are you guys working on? So come this fourth Sunday coming up, and then we'll work on kumiko, which is the Japanese ornamental lattice fretwork, if you will. I've not done any of that, and it's a cool craft. Scroll saw SIG. John, do you have things to talk about? John Tegler leads our scroll saw group. They meet the second Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m.
There's nothing planned for the month of August. However, in September, and the classes are already filled up, but on September the 10th and September the 17th, that's consecutive Saturdays, there's a multi-layered project that we will be working on over there. Now, even if you are not signed up and don't participate, I would encourage anybody that's interested in scrolling to just come in and watch. It's real interesting to watch these people saw. And then October, there's nothing planned. And then in November, there's a Christmas ornament class, and that's already filled up. But again, if you wish, just come back there and watch people make some Christmas ornaments. It'll give you a sense of what goes on in scrolling. Okay? Thank
you, John. The last SIG on our list is the laser engravers. I don't know Mike McCauley's not here. Anyone have anything to talk about the laser SIG? Curtis Alexander co-leads that, and they meet on the fourth Wednesday of the month at 7.
Which would be next Wednesday. And so we don't have any classes anymore scheduled, but the initial demand for that's kind of slowed down. So what we're doing right now is if you come to the SIG and you want to be trained, we'll do it right after the SIG. Mike and I will stay with you and train you then. So anybody who wants to do that, come on down. And otherwise, we'll be talking about some things at the SIG. I'm sure it'll be life-changing, as always.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. We've actually made it through our agenda. So now we get the what is really always one of my favorite times is our show and tell. So Jim Baney, do you want to come up and if you've got a show and tell item, then move on over and kind of get in the queue to come and show off your work. So Jim, come on up.
Boy, you're a lot faster than that last guy.
Is this on?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I need to tell a story about Bill Evans. John will appreciate this. Bill was he was a tin bender. I mean, he was a tin bender, and he was a tad on the gruff side and really direct. And if you were the recipient of that, you knew it. When we were over in the on 63rd Street, Bill, I think, was the director of assets at that time, we were in the process of putting a dust collection system in, and somebody, I don't know who, but procured an amateur at putting some pipe together, and this guy took stovepipe and he tried to hook it up to one of the big dust collectors, and the minute he turned it on, it all collapsed. and I can't repeat what Bill said, but he let that guy. Oh, he took a butt shoe, and that was awesome. Anyway, so who's first?
That's me.
Yep.
Oh, you want to give me the green one? Hey guys, I'm Jason Stengel. I got the fortune recently to take a beginning wood turning class out at the John C. Campbell School of Folk Art in Brasstown, North Carolina. And so I brought in some of the things that I was able to make. I was able to take the class with my wife, and my kids were actually there as well doing some different things. So I just made a few things. This is the very first item I made. It's just a bottle stopper. It's a cherry burl. The second thing I decided to make is a spatula, because I can never find a spatula that's good size for my own hand, and I just need something to cook my eggs every morning. My third piece was a little bit of a vessel. The walls are the same thickness all the way through. It's a spalted sycamore, I believe, and my wife saw this piece and she took the chunk away from me for the other one and said that she was going to turn me a top. So this is what she turned for the top. And so I just say it's my wife on her soapbox, because, you know, it looks just like her. Oh yeah, no, I said it right to her face. And so this is just has a little bit of walnut oil on it. This guy here is just finished with butcher block oil, since I'm going to be cooking with it and washing it frequently. And this is a mixture of 1/3 shellac, 1/3 mineral spirits, and 1/3 oil. It came through real nice.
So, is this on? Okay, so how long was the class?
The class was 1 week long. So the first 3 days were spent just learning how to use the tools, because I'd never put tool to lathe before. And there were a lot of mishaps. So a lot of things jumping around.
So do you now own a lathe?
I have a very, very old Montgomery Ward lathe.
That's old.
Yeah. That I'm still in the process of repairing. Obviously, it's not going to have the mass to do anything large, but I do hope to one day get a larger lathe.
So you're going from a woodworker to a turner?
No, that's not the plan.
Okay.
I'm just looking for things that I can do that are a little less loud. I was injured about a year ago. I had an I-beam fall on my head, and so I still suffer from concussion, that concussion with migraines and just bad things in my head. So I was looking for something to do that was less intense. Plus, I can add to my skill set.
What's the prognosis with that?
Well, they said I've reached maximum medical improvement, so I'm going to have headaches for the rest of my life.
I can see why you want something quiet.
Yeah. So
You got to get rid of the kids?
I wish I could. They're 9 years old, and boy, can they really make you have a headache.
So are you a member of the Turners as well?
No, I'm not a member of the Turners, although I may decide to do so now.
Okay.
I didn't bring in the bowls that I worked on, just simply because they're still drying, and I still need to do the final sanding and finishing on them. Whenever I get those done, I'll also bring those in for everybody to see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions about what Jason's done?
Yeah, Jason,
Yes, sir.
where's Brasstown and how did you hear about this class?
Brasstown, North Carolina is about an hour and a half north of Atlanta. So it's right on the border of North Carolina. And I heard about this class through...
North Carolina or South Carolina?
It's in North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So like close to Highlands, is that close? Anyway,
I honestly don't know where Highlands is.
I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it's up road. It's almost directly north of of Atlanta.
I'll check it out.
So it is south of Nashville. I do know that. Asheville, thank you. Not Nashville, Asheville.
So there is a Nashville, North Carolina, but it's on the east side.
Yeah. So they've had a school that they've been running for almost 80 years, and they have a number of different artists come out and teach. So you can, one week they might have a class in wood turning for the people who are interested in wood, and then the next week you might be doing a shaker dresser. So it's varied. There's my kids did one of them did puppetry, so they were making Sesame Street style puppets, and then the other one did nature ninjas, where they got to go out and help identify mushrooms and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Any more questions? Thank you.
thank you.
Well, hello there, Mr. Baney.
How you doing? You haven't been here for a while, have you?
I have not been, and that kind of segues into... Yes. Microphone is in this thing? Yes, okay. So I have not been here. It's been a couple of years. And so anyway, I've not just been sitting down and eating bonbons in that time. I've been doing a lot of woodworking. And so what I brought tonight is just kind of potpourri of some of the things I've been doing. The most recent is this, it's a music box that my father picked up in Germany during the war, and it was in really bad condition, as Craig can attest to. I had to get some advice from him. But the first challenge I had on this was one of the legs was missing, and so I had to duplicate it, and the profile is not a standard profile, so it took a bit to get the exact profile, or something that most people wouldn't be able to detect any differences. But the real challenge was the wood itself. The box is made from an English or European type walnut, which is much different than North American walnut. And so that's hence how I got the help from Craig, was he gave me some suggestions. And so I was very pleased with how that matched. And then the inside, the interior of the music box was in really bad condition as well. And so I had to get some help on that. And it was not easy to find somebody. There was nobody locally, at least initially. And one of the members, Mike McCauley, had put me in contact with somebody he knew that specialized in music boxes. And so this person was out, I think, in New York or Maine. But anyway, I contacted him, and then he made some other suggestions, and I was able to do some research. And then I found a local business that specializes in clocks, and I took it to them. They did the cleaning or they did the lubrication. They checked it and, took it apart, and everything functioned. And then they lubricated it, and then I took it back over and did some of the cleaning inside. But it was in pretty bad condition when I first got it. So anyway, and then the finish on it, it's shellac, and I did kind of a quasi French polish on it. And it's the reason I say quasi is because it's not the true French polish where you get the pumice and you rub it in. I did some of that, but I wasn't quite happy with it. And then I went to spraying it to get my coats. I did the hand with the pumice to start using it as a filler to build the filler up. And then I went to spraying it using one of those airbrush sprayers to start building up the coats. And then I did some of the hand polishing, but I used some sandpaper to bring it back down, get it nice and smooth, and then I hand rubbed it out. So anyway, that's the music box. The next is, some of you may recognize this if you're familiar with Mike Pekovich and fine woodworking. This is his tea box, or my rendition of that tea box. And he had a clasp on it, and I built about a dozen of these for Christmas. And the very first one I made, I used the clasp, and I thought it just looked clunky. Sorry, Mike, but I thought it looked clunky, and it was a gift. And so I took the clasp off, and all the other dozen, or the rest of them, did not have the clasp. They were made in a variety of woods, walnut, cherry, and this one here I kept, and I have absolutely no idea what this wood is. Matt, I even gave Matt a sample of it, and he said he was going to do a DNA sample or testing on it, and but I really don't know what it is. No, it's an ornamental. This is what I know. It's an ornamental tree that came out of my sister-in-law's yard, and the tree had died, and one of my sons cut it down for her and salvaged 2 logs, and they were 2 fairly short logs. And so the real challenge was to get a single box out of that log, and it's kind of, once you get started, there's no turning back, and there was very, very little waste. And if you look real closely, you'll see some imperfections, and those imperfections are where I didn't have enough wood to work with. And as an example of that is that my side pieces, to get it the sides of it is a single piece that I was able to get matched. It was actually 2 pieces that I book matched and wrapped it all the way around. And to get it to work, to get it dimensionally to work out, I had to cut my side pieces a little short. So if you look, you can notice that the overhang on those dovetails is not quite right, but that's why. And then the internal piece is made out of a pear tree that actually I salvaged from a snowstorm in our front yard many, many years ago. And the challenge on that is doing those bird's beak joints. And it just, if you're taking that Kumiko class, a lot of the techniques that you use for that class, it's really what I applied to get this, to really get the really nice joints. But anyway, I was really happy with that. And then this last one, it's just it just contains a lot of junk. Okay. And there's some turnings here. I'm not going to pull all of these out, but there's a lot of boxes, a potpourri box, a lot of gifts that I made, some turkey calls that I made. And the box itself is worth mentioning. Some of you may know that I've got a passion for using refurbished lumber wherever I can. So this box is made from some kitchen cabinets that were torn out of our house, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, and I saved all of the drawer sides, and it's that old pine, the house is a 40, 50-year-old house. That's some good lumber. And so I saved all that pine, and I've used it for a number of projects over the years. And this is the tail end of the kitchen cabinet. And then it's got another liner in it, and then again, a bunch of different boxes that, small boxes that I've turned and used for a variety of reasons. So,
anybody got any questions about what John has done? Have you used those turkey calls?
Yes, I have.
Did you get one?
My brother-in-law did. I have not with it. I was going to ask you that question. I gave Kevin one. Did he get one with it? Did he use it? Good.
Yep, we got one.
All right, good.
Can we hear the music box?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. It plays Brahms' Lullaby.
How long is it?
I'll do the short version of it.
Okay.
I'll turn it on, and then the mechanism on. I can remember as a little kid just really being. This thing just intrigued me as a little kid, and but anyway, we played it for all my brothers and sisters as we were growing up, and the infants, and then it ended up at our house, so my kids got it. So now my daughter wants it, and so it was in really bad condition, and I couldn't turn it over to her like that.
If we had time, I'd like to hear the story about how your dad got this. If we had time.
Yeah. Be honest with you, I really don't know.
Okay.
And he was in Germany at the very tail end of the war, and then he. Pardon me?
Souvenir.
No, it was purchased. It was not. Yeah. And he may have gone into Switzerland during his stay. He was there for about 3 or 4 years, and so he never really went into a lot of detail with me, Jim. On I'd asked him multiple times, and so.
Any other questions?
I just want to say, if you have any questions, please raise your hand so that way I can get to you, so that way we can hear your questions.
Thanks, John.
You bet.
Awesome work.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Try and stay, not make it a couple of years next time. Who's next? Steve?
I'll put this together.
No, not.
These are just, I found a guy that makes puzzles online and paid for his plans and made about 15 of these things.
For your grandkids?
Yeah.
How many grandkids you got? 15?
13.
Oh, so you got two, these are the two extra.
No. I had a little maple, went and bought a piece of cherry from Metro, made boxes out of them. There are, as best I can count, 138 edges per box that need to be sanded.
Okay. At break, take this apart and see if anybody can put it back together. Okay.
I got one apart
All
over
right.
there.
So that's a challenge to everybody. So you just put a kind of a finish, just a oil finish?
Yeah, just had some paraffin, carnauba wax, orange oil, and mineral oil.
Okay.
Rub on, rub off, no running, no dripping.
My kind of finish.
No mess.
All right. Questions? What's the prize if somebody gets it in there?
Maybe they'll get one.
Okay. You're on. Very good. Thank you. Johnny, next. Okay, John, just to let you know, we're running a little short on time now. Your other John took up he made up for the last 2 years that he wasn't here. Yeah.
I will not assemble puzzle or anything like that, but it's an octopus. I still have to put a backing on it and a framework around it, and that's yet to go. But this was the pattern, and then these are the pieces that were cut from that, and of course they all fit inside here. I think there's probably about 15, 16 pieces. And it took a good couple days worth of 8-hour days to cut the pieces out, and then you have to sand them and burnish off the edges and all that kind of stuff. All right, any questions?
Ron.
Fits in here somewhere.
Okay.
There it is. There's one of them.
All right, any questions about John's puzzle? Yeah.
Fire away.
What are you using to color your pieces?
The black ones were stained. The white ones were oiled, and the other ones were painted with colored paint from what's that store that sells all that stuff? Hobby Lobby. And believe it or not, when you stain, you just dip it in and pull it out and let it dry. It doesn't work. And then you have to get inside all those little cuts. I don't think I'm going to do another project that requires me to paint them, because boy, that really, really takes time.
Okay. Any other questions? Good. Thanks, John.
By the way, I hope this puzzle will be put together before I leave.
Another John.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm John Bangotham, and I don't really make anything in my shop. I just make things for my shop. And this is a set of router radius templates. It goes from a 1/2 inch to 4 1/4, and and then of course I have the bit here, and then if I need to find the center of that radius, I got a transfer punch here that picks up on the hole, and the case is the challenging part because I've made these before and throw them in a drawer, so I want them stored where they would be accessible.
Did you copy this from Woodpeckers?
No.
Have you seen theirs?
I've seen them.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
Wow. I think Woodpecker's price for this is like $750.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Anyway, this was much less.
Yeah. Wow. Nice work. I'm really impressed with the machine parts. And have you used it quite a bit?
Some.
Yeah, but you just make stuff for your shop as opposed to. Wow. Okay. So this goes from half inch
to 4 1/4.
4 1/4 in what increments?
I start out with, I think, in 1/4 inch increments, then I'll step up to a 1/2 inch.
Okay.
John, what router templates did you use to cut out your router templates?
Actually, I cheated. I used the rotary table in my Bridgeport mill.
That is cheating.
I didn't use the CNC, though.
All right. That is really neat. Thank you. All right, Billy. Here's somebody else that hadn't been here. Either one of these guys haven't been here for like 2 years, 3 years.
Some of us still have to work for a living. Yeah, stop using those long words. Yeah. That W.
Okay, it's good to be back. I'm glad we're all meeting in a room now together rather than, I could never get into the online, but it's good to be back. 2 years. Started long before the great pandemic of COVID-19 when the governor ordered us all home. I started a Roy Underhill inspired shave horse. The cherry tree was harvested long ago, I think 2015-ish, and was dried out. Well, getting the planking, getting the lines, I had to trace some lines out in the plank. Got real familiar with my scrub plane. Had to use that a lot to get it somewhat leveled out. Found a walnut log laying around the shop for the legs. Again, hand tools for, I'd say 85% of it. A little bit of Forstner bit to get the dumb head to fit in. The challenging part that a lot of head scratching and making excuses not to do was that axle, getting it parallel and perpendicular so it wouldn't be wop-jawed in there, because you only get one chance to get it right. So I stared at that a lot before.
What did you use to drill that with?
I had to get a special order an auger bit to get the right depth, but I did use, instead of a bit and brace, it was a auger bit on a power drill to and it had to be eyeballed, and like I said, I just walked around and stared at it for like 2-3 weeks and drank a 6-pack one afternoon and dived in. But it was a lot of fun. I got to use it once to cut some pins for a major up at Fort Leavenworth who did a lot of timber framing, incredibly talented young man, and he built a pavilion for one of his buddies who was building a home. So got to take it out there and use it to shave some of the pins. But a lot of fun.
So that's the only time you've used it so far?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to, what I want to do, a long-term goal, is one of these days I'm going to build a Windsor chair. So using this to a lot of shave horse work I've seen on the little bit of reading I've done. So
There's a class coming up, you know.
yeah, I know, but unfortunately Bob and I are going to be on the road again. I get to spend a month on Oahu training the mighty 25th Division here coming up real soon. So yeah.
The giant fig leaf?
Yes, exactly.
If that's a military jargon for the 25th Infantry Division
Yes.
is a fig leaf on.
On their division patch. All right, thank you. Like I said, it's good to be back.
Any questions about this? What'd you finish it with?
Walnut oil.
So it's got an oil finish?
Yep.
And anybody got any questions about how long did it take you?
Off and on.
2 weeks for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a slow project. Anytime I don't know, about 2 years, I would go on and off just when the urge hit me to dive in on it.
Where'd you find the cherry log?
A guy that I would buy firewood from harvested this great big huge cherry tree, and when I went out there to pick it up, he came and he talked to me about it. So I just picked it up, threw it in the back of my truck, and threw it up in the shed for about, I don't know, it must have been drying as a split log for about 7-8 years before I started in on the project.
And you turned the mallet with. Did you get that from a military policeman?
No, that's I hand carved that. Just
You did all this by hand?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, it will, and I keep him away from the wife. Actually.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing it in, Bill.
Honestly, his level, it was just on the peg.
Okay. Les.
Okay, what was the last question you asked him? How long
did it take
you?
Yeah. How long did this take you?
Okay, long story short, I started this bathroom about 6 years ago. This is it's a small bathroom, our master bath, but I was always working and tired and never got around to my own stuff. I finished the bathroom completely, but in that little niche was an old store-bought oak vanity, and it stayed that way for 5 years. I built this vanity 3 years ago, and once again I just couldn't get to it, but I retired at the end of last year, so now it's time for my stuff. Anyway, you know what they say? Happy wife, happy retirement. So there's her vanity. Those are S-curved doors, by the way, that I made by hand. So anyway, that's it.
Wait a minute.
Did you show both pictures? Yeah, there's a close-up of it.
So
French posts and feet.
What kind of wood did you build this out of?
It's all out of poplar.
So it's paint grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you mill the trim?
The front of it?
Yeah.
They're solid pieces. They're cut out of solid pieces. The doors, however, the panels, it curves in and then it curves out. So it's 2 half panels. Same radius.
Okay.
But I made 2 half panels, ran the rays on them, and then glued the 2 pieces together to get the S-curve in the panels. The rails, top and bottom rails, is just one solid piece that's cut out of a solid board. And the molding the same way. They're cut out, the molding's solid. It's a lip mold. Carved feet on the bottom, carved French corner posts. And I don't know, you really can't see it, but there's a bead scratched in all the way around here.
Hey, Les. When you did the two door halves. Did you mortise and tenon those two halves together, or are they just straight edge glued?
The panel?
Yeah.
They were just biscuited.
Okay.
Yeah. And the door frames are dominoed together.
Okay.
Any other questions about this piece of craftsmanship? Only you, Les. Only you would do that.
How long?
No, I said only you would.
Oh, no, it's not that hard.
Okay. That's it.
Well, that's all. I had I had pictures of mine as well, so I have a show and tell.
Okay.
No, you need to come. I'm not going to talk about it. Well, I guess I can, but so this is. I had one of my wife's good friends that had this is one of the older houses, kind of off Ward Parkway, and they had an old screen door that was rotten, and they wanted to replace it with a storm door. So they asked me if I would do it, and I said sure I could do it, but I'd never really done one before. So there's a lot to learn here. It wasn't that easy, but this is mahogany, tempered glass. The obviously the door frame was fit to their specific house, and a lot of stuff I learned doing that, but it turned out pretty smooth.
So what's the thickness of the door? 1.25 inches?
It's about 1.25 inches, yeah.
And it's a 3 foot wide?
Probably closer to 4, like probably about
Okay,
42,
so
44.
how did you what did you do to mortise and tenon?
Yeah, mortise and tenon, and so then I cut a big rabbet on the back, and then made stops.
Okay.
To put the glass in.
So what'd you finish it with?
It's finished with about 5 heavy coats of spar varnish to try to, I'm worried that a stained exterior door, I don't know how many years you're going to get out of it, so I wanted to at least get a...
So you did stain it before you put the finish on?
Yes, stained. The natural mahogany, which I tried to do, wasn't dark enough for them, so it was stained, and spar varnish.
How did you mortise the hinges in terms of, were you able, did you fill the old hinge pockets, or did you put?
I used the old hinge pockets.
So how'd you do that? Match them up?
I took the frame before it was done, and I sat it up there and kind of shimmed it all and marked it where it was.
Okay.
And then I installed the hinges on the door.
And was the hardware anything special?
No, the hardware's not anything special. It was I use a Larson, storm door set, which there's a lot to. This is the first time I'd ever done that, but making that mortise and getting it all to fit and making sure the thumb turn worked and all that. It took a decent amount of fiddling.
Awesome. How many people have built doors? Exterior doors, or exterior or interior doors? Yeah.
Yeah, in the end, it was good. The day that I went to install it, it was a few weeks ago, and it was a 95+ day, and I struggled because the stop on the existing frame, I didn't catch that it was slightly angled, so it kept binding at the back, so I had to do a lot of field modification or stops, and I was, you're so sweaty that you sweat through your shirt and you sweat through your belt and you're sweating through your pants. It was kind of a nasty afternoon, and I walked away kind of dejected, and then I came back a week later and kind of finished up some of the places I had field modification, and then it worked perfectly. So it turned out good after that, and they were happy with it.
Okay. Any questions about his door?
The lock set was you just go to a Larson Storm Door part, so it was kind of a modern one. Like a standard? It's pretty standard, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Keyed on the outside, thumb turn on the inside?
Exactly, yeah, key on the outside, thumb turn on the inside.
I've hung a lot of doors in my lifetime, so I really appreciate what you did.
So, Jim, you'll appreciate this. So I hired a guy on a pretty large project to replace a bunch of glass on glass breakage from sloppy subcontractor stuff. And I talked to him and I said, hey, you think you can order this glass for me? It's tempered glass. And he came and got him a template and everything. And I said, charge me what I want. He never charged me. So that's kind of nice. You get a little favor once in a while.
Awesome.
Timber glasses.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right.
Well, that's the end of our, we'll come back to our program. We'll take a quick break. We're going to have an 8-minute break. And we've got our refreshments, and please go get the raffle, and we'll see you back in a few minutes.
This is Woodwords the podcast, a production of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. Here's your host, Kevin Thomas.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Woodwords the podcast. I want to start off this week by thanking Mike Jones for filling in for me when I was under the weather in our last program. He did a great job. I might have to worry about my job here. Also want to thank Norm Carpenter for interviewing me, even though I'm not sure everybody wanted to hear that, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Today, we are joined by a longtime member of the Guild. He's an artist. He's just recently taken the secretary position for the Guild. And he's a teacher. And besides that, he makes a mean chicken Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo.
There we go.
He is Dave Roth. Dave, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
I'll start you off like we do everybody. How did you get your start in woodworking?
Well, about 25 years ago, I quit smoking. And so with quitting smoking, I had to do something with my hands, right?
Okay.
So I took up woodworking. Now, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So anyway, within woodworking, you know, I've heard this about 2 months ago when someone says, why buy something for $50 when you can build it for $300, right? So when we build things as woodworkers, it's just not trying to save money, but it's something that we build and pass down to our family members and things of that sort. Plus the satisfaction of building with your own hands.
Right. Okay. How did you come to the Woodworkers Guild?
My father-in-law took me to one of the woodworking shows in Kansas City. And at the 8-foot table, there was George Dixon and Bill Webb. And George had this wooden crane that he built. And he told me about the Guild and says, yeah, come on down to the Guild, you know, check us out. We'll meet on the third Wednesday, and we'll get you a set of plans for the crane. Never got the set of plans from him. And so when I came to the Guild, you know, there was like 50, 60 people at Jacob's Well, right? And I didn't recognize him, you know, being the first time there. And but I did see him like 2 or 3 months later. He brought in a crane for show and tell. I said, that's the guy. You know, and he doesn't. I don't know if you've seen his cranes. They're about the yay big, and they're all functional with ropes and everything. He did a really good job on them.
Okay. You're considered the Guild's expert on a couple of topics. One of those being Intarsia. What got you interested in Intarsia?
Well, I used to do watercolor paintings, and I'd spend 30, 40 hours on a watercolor painting. And when I started woodworking, I wanted to do something with wood, and I was at Woodcraft, and they had a book from Judy Gale Roberts on Intarsia. So I looked at the book, and it was a little pelican, and I did that without the half-inch wood they sold at Woodcraft. And I bought some walnut, mahogany, and maple, and I had a scroll saw, and I cut it out, and then I sculpted with the Dremel and said, that's what I wanted to do, because Intarsia has different color woods to it. You have your darks, lights, browns, burls, fiddleback. Those are sort of like your watercolor paintings, you know, at least to me, within wood.
You use a lot of exotics?
I only put about 10% of exotics in there because exotic woods are really hard and they're oily, like cardinal wood, babinga. Beautiful woods, and they're a little pricey too and wingy. But you use them to enhance your project. Yeah.
Good. And you're also considered somewhat of an expert on marquetry.
Marquetry, yes.
Are there any similarities in the two techniques?
Yes, there are. There the similarities within that is you both use a scroll saw for both projects, and you also look for proper grain direction. So let's say you're doing an iris in Intarsia. Intarsia is when you cut wood 3/4 inch thick, and then you sculpt it with sanding drums, right? And then you put it back together like a mosaic. So if you're doing an iris and a long leaf, well, you put that pattern the same direction as the wood. And the same thing with marquetry. You take thin veneer 42nd inch and you lay that in your packet the same direction as the leaf. So that's grain direction and scroll sawing.
Okay.
Similarities.
Do you have a favorite of those two?
I'm really liking marquetry a lot. Yeah. I also like the Intarsia. I like them both.
What skill are you working on mastering now?
That's a good one. There's quite a few right now. As you know, I'm teaching at Kansas City, Kansas Community College in construction tech.
Okay.
At the college, I've been there for 9 years, and they were short-handed in the construction tech classes. And we had like 15 high school students and a total of 40 students, and not enough instructors. So they asked me if I could keep an eye and help with the teaching, keeping the students safe. So I mean, they're using joiners, planers, band saws, table saws, miter saws. So, and I said yes. I mean, I get to go do woodworking and get paid for it. It's awesome. It's really a lot of fun.
That's good. Now, are you still teaching the culinary arts?
No, I'm not. I haven't been teaching much culinary arts since I've been working at the college. I haven't been doing very many caterings or cooking classes in people's homes. But some other things I've been working on skill-wise is resin casting, pin turning, doing some wood turning with Anthony Harris on his box making classes. So in school at the college, when the students start learning spindle turn, I want to be able to make sure that I know and I'm be able to teach the students how to do it safely.
That's good. Safety is a big thing.
It is. It is.
Okay, you're involved here with basic and intermediate classes in woodworking.
Right.
Is this teaching something that you enjoy?
Yes. Watching the students learn here at the Guild, trying that table saw over there, trying to learn the table saw joinery. You know, I want to be one of the go-to guys for that. Not the guy, but one of the guys up to that. And it's really good to see when a student figures out, like when they're doing the locking rabbit drawer joint for that drawer and everything fits right, they get that aha moment. Or the plant stand, you know, the half lap, and they get that all nice and even with the mortises going up and things like that. And it's just really good to see that light bulb click.
Good.
Yeah.
You've rejoined the board of directors at our last meeting. You
Right.
became secretary.
Yes.
Would you like to pitch something to our newer members about what
Sure.
it's like to step up and volunteer?
Sure, absolutely. Our guild has a lot of opportunities to help out. I mean, you don't have to do them all. You just only need to do one. Like a foreman, right? There's, I don't know how many foremen we have, like 20, 30 maybe foremans here, maybe more than that come in on one day a month or one day a week to help out. You know, we have the scroll saw SIGs, the SIGs and things of that sort. John Tegler, you know, I did it for 3 years and John's doing it for 9. I mean, John Tegler right now is a scroll saw guy. You have a question on scroll sawing, he's your man. Now, George Rexroad, he's kind of stepping up a little bit and helping out John. And like George Rexroad, he used to do bandsaw boxes. And now he's stepped up and teach classes. So if there's something you're good at, whether it's teaching or if you're good with computers, if you're a journalist and you want to be an editor here for our guild, if you have those skills, you know, it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a little bit of your time.
A little bit.
Yep.
Okay, time to go to our final 3 questions.
Okay.
This will be 3 random questions that may or may not be about woodworking.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Your favorite tool?
Ooh, scroll saw.
Scroll saw?
Absolutely.
You have a favorite Kansas City barbecue?
Oh, absolutely. Q39, hands down. They're expensive, but they're consistent. They're consistent on the barbecue.
Marinara or Alfredo sauce?
Oh, Alfredo. Absolutely. You know, after you make your Alfredo sauce and you reduce it down, a little provolone and, you know, Gruyere cheese, you throw a little bit of butter in there just to make it a little bit richer at the very end. Tasty. Really good. Yes, sir.
I'm surprised that you don't weigh 300 pounds. I know if I ate a lot of that, of your Alfredo, it would, I would end up
You
there.
only have that about once every 6 months. You don't have it. You don't have it every week. No. But pasta carbonara is good too.
David, I want to thank you for being with us today, and I want to thank all of you out there. Please remember to do all the usual things, to like, share, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And as always, remember to work safe and get your sawdust on. Thanks. Cool.
This has been Woodwords the Podcast, a production of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, with host Kevin Thomas and producer Chris McCauley. A special thank you to our guest today, to the Guild's Leadership Committee, and to all of our sponsors. For more information about the Guild,
We're going to get started with our program, so find your seats and finish up those conversations just like we were saying. Excited about our program tonight. We have Rich Shockey with us with Flourish Furnishing. And we originally heard about this from Jim Baney, who volunteers with the organization. I don't know a ton of details. I know I love the idea of what you are doing, so I'm going to leave it to you, Rich, to kind of take it from here. But thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. How's my audio doing back there? Am I all right? All right, good deal. Hi, it's good to see you. What a privilege to be here. You know, Jim said I could come closer to 8 to get here, but I decided to come at 7. I'm glad I did. How fun to see what y'all are up to and to see the great projects. Big thank you to Jim Baney, who is just an indispensable resource now for us over at Flourish Furnishings. Some friendly faces here. Mark back there is here and volunteers with us quite a bit. And just so grateful. So my name is Rich Shockey. I'm the executive director. I used to say new executive director at Flourish Furnishings. It's been a year now, so I can't say new anymore. I'll maybe say newish, but I've been there for about a year. I came out of the nonprofit world, and I heard what Flourish Furnishings was doing, and I thought I really want to be a part of that. I really want to be a part of what's happening. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we do, so you get just kind of an overview of who we are, and then I'm going to talk specifically for the first time ever about our woodworking department, and I'm really excited about this because anytime I give a tour out there, we have a corner. I call it my magic. We got magic corners. I call it my magic corners because these folks make magic happen. One of my magic corners is woodworking, and so how fun to be able to come and just talk about what we do in woodworking because it's so amazing what we're able to do in the community. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about us. We are the only furniture bank in Kansas City. A furniture bank, we chose that name because I don't think a lot of people really understand what we are, but when you hear furniture bank, you think, well, I know what a food bank is. You know, a food bank is a resource that sends food out to other organizations to help them distribute food. That's what we do, but we do it with furniture and housewares. We are the only furniture bank in Kansas City. There are a handful of them across the country that do what we do, but we serve as a central resource for social service agencies in Kansas City to provide a household full of furniture and housewares, mostly for people coming out of homelessness. Last year, we served about 760 families, which equates to somewhere around 2,000 people. About half of those are kids. Almost all of them got a bed. Almost all of them got things like cookware and bakeware and dishes and wood furniture and all the things that come along with it. Last year, we had 60-some partner agencies. This year, we're at 77. And so these are social service organizations like Avenue of Life or Cornerstones of Care or Care Beyond the Boulevard or the VA or Veterans Community Project or Refugee Resettlement like Della, just a whole range of them. We serve them. What they do is when they have a client who's getting back on their feet, so it could be a number of things, right? So it could be like refugee resettlement. So somebody comes over on a boat or a plane and is starting over in the States, or if it's somebody who's been homeless or has been in a domestic violence shelter, and they're coming out and they need all of this stuff These social service agencies get referral privileges with us. It costs them $50 a referral to send somebody to us, and then we give them everything for free. And so you can imagine that when you're trying to get your life back together and you're trying to get all the things arranged, worrying about furniture and housewares is one of the last things that you want to worry about. We figure it costs about $8,000 or so to furnish a one-bedroom apartment, and we get to do that for them for free. We distributed about 30,000 items last year. We're on track to distribute close to 40 this year, which is pretty incredible. And we do all of this with volunteers. We have 2 full-time employees at Flourish, and last year we had over 300 volunteers to make what we do work. So there's so much heart and soul and passion that goes into what we do, and it's a lot of fun. We serve clients 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, 9 to 12. So it's a kind of a short program, what we do. And we bring all of our volunteers that help us with our operations come in that day, and they help us serve usually anywhere from about 6 to 8 families a day. So we bring them in, and we allow them to shop for all of their stuff, and then we send them on. There are some other days during the week, so Wednesday, and we just added Fridays, where folks come in and do projects. So a lot of woodworking projects happening on Wednesday. I saw several going on today, where we're not serving clients, but the wood shop's still open, and we're still doing work. Like I said, we work with about 70 social service agencies. I thought I'd just throw up some of their logos up there so you can see some of what we do. All of them are real special to us. I have heard so many tremendous stories from our clients. When I first started, I realized this is when I knew I was in the right place. There was a little girl. I remember I was helping load up furniture on a truck, and there's a little 9-year-old girl, and she was from Safe Home was her agency. It was a domestic violence shelter. This little girl, I call her Paris. She was jumping up and down, 9 years old, as I'm rolling a cart of furniture down to her, and I said, "Paris, what are you so excited about?" And she said, "It's the first bed I've ever had all to myself." And I thought, this is the right place for me. So serving our domestic violence shelters is always really meaningful. We serve, if anybody's involved in refugee resettlement work, we are involved with all 3 refugee resettlement agencies in Kansas City. So this is Catholic Charities, JVS, Jewish Vocational Service, and also Della Lamb. So these are largely people who've been displaced by war or conflict in another country. They apply to be placed. Interestingly, you don't apply to come to America. The UNHCR decides where they send you, and they send them to America, and we'll give them a house full of furniture to get them started in the States, which is a lot of fun. Here's just a little look at some of our referring partners. I know that writing's real small, so you can't see it up there, but just in case any of you are connected with any of the other agencies in town, the VA is on here. Our connection with veterans is real special to us. We have a great relationship with the VA. And if you guys know, anybody heard of the Veterans Community Project, VCP? They've got the Tiny House Project. They're a tremendous organization. But when they're rehousing somebody, so if they're coming out of tiny houses, getting their first regular place, or just somebody that comes through their regular service who they have case management and they're getting rehomed, they send them over to us, which is a lot of fun. Here's just kind of a list of some of the things that we help people with. A lot of people have been homeless, and a lot of homelessness and addiction and mental illness all kind of go together. Oftentimes if you see somebody on the street, are they homeless because they have a mental illness or because they have a substance abuse problem, or is it because they're a veteran? The answer may just be yes. It could be all of the things. Homelessness can be really complicated, and we want to help be a part of that. So I mentioned our volunteers. I could have shown you a video today, but I just thought I'd bring you a few photos so you can see some of our volunteers, what we do. We had over 17,000 volunteer hours last year, which is a really meaningful number to us. 2 employees. I've got a couple of AmeriCorps volunteers that work with us, but so much heart and soul and dedication and creativity, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which is a lot of fun. One of the cornerstones of what we do is what we call personal shopping. So at Flourish Furnishings, it's really important to us that we instill dignity and recognize the dignity in folks in what we do. I don't know if things have been hard for you before, but being on the street in particular is a very, very undignified experience. I remember when I was in college, we did a homeless simulation class, and we went to DC and had to pretend to be homeless for a day to see what the experience was like. And I remember just going up to people and asking for the time, or asking, hey, do you know where the bathroom is? You know, and people don't look at you. Now, I understand why that happens, right? But as a person, you become invisible real quick. You're a domestic violence survivor. You have probably had somebody making decisions for you all of your life. Your worth, your value has not mattered. So when people come to Flourish Furnishings, this is important to us that we recognize the dignity and value of every single person that comes through our door. One of the ways that we hope to do that is by giving them a personal shopping experience. So when somebody comes to get their stuff, we don't just, here's your truck, take it and go. But we bring them into our showroom, and you can see here, you can see in these photos, this is live shop, that was shopping happening in these photos. These are clients who went through our showroom, we assign them a personal shopper, and that personal shopper takes them around, and they get to pick out their couch. They get to pick out their dresser. They get to choose their pots and pans. And so we hope that it restores agency to people. I had a guy, his name was Marvin, come through, and he'd been sleeping under a bridge for 15 years. And I don't know what finally got him, kind of off the street and into the program. But he said, I just kind of given up on thinking that there was any good left in the world. And I remember he had his mask on, he pulled his mask down, he was crying, and he stood in the doorway and he shouted, he said, now I believe there are good people in the world for what you all did for me. And to be able to help a guy like Marvin was really meaningful to us. I told you about Paris, being excited about her bed. One of the great things that we get to do is help kids. We know that some of the things that we do at Flourish Furnishing are helping kids. I recognize that every single person has dignity and value, but boy, when you're helping a kid who didn't participate at all in the situation they're in, is a really meaningful thing. These are actual clients who are excited about the things that they got in their home, which is a lot of fun. Well, this is a mess of a chart that I don't really expect you to read, but I kind of put it up there. We track all of our statistics for the things that we do, but I put a few things up there because I wanted you to see. In particular, I wanted you to see in the middle the wood furniture that we give away. We gave away 4,300 pieces of wood furniture last year. So it's important for me to mention everything that we do is with used, recycled, reclaimed, upcycled, repurposed stuff at Flourish Furnishings. An important part of what we do is prep stuff, get it repaired, get it refinished, or sometimes build something so that it can be given to our clients. 4,300 wood items last year, and you can just see a handful of other things we did. Linens, we give away sheets, we give away towels, all of that. That's a look at it last year. We do it on a really slim budget, so I don't have a big funder in Kansas City. I don't have a big foundation who gives us $200,000 a year to do what we do. A large part of what we do is funded by individuals. So we were started. You'll see Church of the Resurrection up there. Anybody heard of Church of the Resurrection? A Methodist church down south. Great folks. Flourish Furnishing started in the basement of Church of the Resurrection almost 14 years ago. There was a housing employee who just saw the need in the city, driving around, seeing that homelessness is a problem in Kansas City, and thought, wow, we need to do something about this furniture issue. So he started this what was a ministry in the basement of the Church of the Resurrection, became My Father's House Ministry. It was I hear it was on Manchester Traffic Way for a while in the old Armco building over there. I hear there were like holes in the roof and rats, but that was before my time. But funny though, everybody kind of remembers it with nostalgia, which is kind of interesting how that works. But 4 years ago, they decided, look, what we're doing is really bigger than what we can do in the basement of the church. The city needs us to be bigger than we are. So we incorporated as Flourish Furnishings, a nonprofit 501c3, 4 years ago, and disconnected formally from the church. But we still have a special relationship with them, and there are a lot of people who love Flourish and love to give. So, but we try to do everything we do on a shoestring budget. So this is just a quick look at donation, the things that we receive. This is just a handout that I usually give to folks who want to donate, just so you can kind of see a little bit of what we do. Furniture, you see the bedroom, the living room, the dining room furniture. And then in terms of housewares, a lot of folks don't think about, well, if you're starting over, what do you need in your kitchen? I had a group of kids in today. They were, Barstow School brought in a group today. And I just asked the kids, okay, you're going into to make dinner. What do you need for dinner? You know, and they just kind of started listing the things. We need pots and pans. I make sure that every client gets a can opener. I can't tell you how many people have said, I got my new apartment. Somebody brought me a box of food. I was so excited, and I couldn't eat any of it because I didn't have a can opener. So we make sure that everybody comes through and gets a can opener. So this is just a handful of the stuff that we do. Well, Jim didn't know I took a picture of this when he showed me, but so when I'm giving people a tour at Flourish, we have 30,000 square feet of warehouse there. So it's a massive operation. About a quarter of that is showroom, and then about half of that is all the prep area. It's the sewing corner, it's the dish pack corner, it's small item sort. But don't tell anybody, but my favorite is the woodworking corner. And this is where Jim and Mark and others come throughout the week, and they take items that come in that may otherwise go into a landfill oftentimes and turn them into personal projects. Some of them are done on site. Some of them guys take home with them and do them at home. But this is a project that Jim worked on. So he just showed me this, I don't know, day before yesterday, and I thought I want to get a quick picture of that and show it. Sorry, it's not the show and tell that everybody else had, but
Rich, I want to tell you that one on the left was not the original.
Right.
One.
That's correct.
Painted like that, and they used a roller that they got from Harbor Freight.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, since it didn't have a mic, Jim said the one on the left is not, that's not the original one there, but this is one similar. The paint job was similar, and it looked like it was done by, I don't know, somebody like me with a paint roller from Harbor Freight. It was a bad paint job. You can't really see it in the picture, but it looked real bad. You know, we want to give away gently used things, and we want people to have nice things. Jim just took that thing and with a little bit of effort turned it into that beautiful piece that you see on the right. And I guarantee you, it's going to disappear next week. We'll have probably 20 clients come through the showroom next week alone. And this was the one on the right is already on the showroom. In fact, it says, yeah, item for family size 1 or 2. And so we try to size things by family. This is just one of the projects that Jim worked on. I had a guy back there, I told him I was coming. He said, hey, tell him we have a lot of clamps. He said, woodworking guys, they never have enough clamps, so tell them we got a lot of clamps. So I took pictures of clamps back there so that you could see. I know your clamp collection is very impressive there. But I thought I'd show you a picture of our clamps. That was just funny. He said, look at that. Here's just kind of a look. I just grabbed a photo of what our wood shop looks like back there. I can't tell you specifics of what all kind of toys they got back there to play with, but I know right now they're working on building a spray booth back there, which is kind of fun. We'll see how it turns out. But right now we've got about 7 or 8 guys, right now all guys who come in and just take these projects on. And one of the really beautiful things about what they do back there is they know that what they work on, as soon as that thing goes out on the floor, it's going to be in somebody's house probably by the end of the week. It's one of the real special things about running a furniture bank is that, you know, thrift stores are great. We got great relationships with some thrift stores. I believe in their missions for most of them for what they do. It's really great work. But when somebody donates to Flourish, it's really, really meaningful to say that kitchen table that your family ate at for 20 years, that your kids did homework around, and that your family played games at, you know, it's hard to let that go. I mean, we can get really attached to stuff, right? I mean, I am. Especially if you worked on it for 6 years. Where's that thing up there? But we can get really attached to our things, right? We got a lot of memories associated with things. It's really meaningful to be able to say, hey, that, you know, donor, that dining room table you're bringing to us is going to go into somebody's home. Our woodworking crew is able to take so many of these items that may not be fit to give away and turn them into beautiful, dignified pieces. Well, I don't have a picture of this, but one of my favorite projects to brag on is, so we love it when we get a hotel clean out. So a hotel calls up and says, hey, we're remodeling. Do you want 100 mattresses? Yes. You know, do you want 100 dressers? Absolutely. You know, or 200 lamps, which is often the case, which is amazing. But one of the things we've often said no to, I don't know if you've noticed what a bed frame looks like in a hotel, but that headboard does not attach to the frame of the bed. It bolts to the wall for reasons you can imagine. we can't give those away, so folks are not interested in bolting a headboard to their apartment wall. That doesn't work out for them. So, but we brought some in. We promised a hotel that we would take everything. So we went and we just took back everything they had in the room, including these headboards. And we thought, what in the world are we going to do with these headboards? So, well, you can imagine, right? So these are beautiful slabs of wood. These guys came in and turned them into beautiful dining room tables. And I'd watch those things. I'd see one put together, and it would go down on the floor, and it would be gone by the afternoon. And so it was just so fun to see the creativity and the love and the energy and all that effort, and to know that night some family is going to be sitting around a table. They were probably sitting on the floor the night before, eating their food, sitting around a table because they had the creativity to take it, say something that would have ended up in a landfill and turned it into something beautiful for a family. I would have been proud to have that table in my house. I also watched them take it. It's kind of neat. We get a lot of like big curio cabinets, and sometimes our clients can't use those. Gary Galvin took one of them, and it was a big one like this, and he took it and he cut it in half, turned them into 2 little wardrobes, and took one of those tops and attached it to the top of the one that he cut in half, and turned it into a wardrobe for somebody, and just really beautiful. So what we do at Flourish is really transformational. And our woodworking crew is really important for us. And this is an invitation to you. I would certainly love for any of you who are interested to spend your time, come out, take a tour with me at Flourish. I can show you what we do. Jim or Mark would always be happy to bring you out and show you around. But we need good stuff, and we need craftsmen who are willing to really spend the time necessary to transform stuff. We're on a mission to keep stuff out of the landfill in Kansas City. So last year, we know that we diverted over 200 tons of stuff out of landfills. This year, we are on track to divert over 300 tons out of landfills. And this is just the stuff I can track. That actually doesn't count dock drop-offs, because I don't count those yet. I can't say it publicly, but I would venture to say we're going to divert about 400 tons of stuff this year. So all this reclaimed stuff, I loved hearing earlier the passion for reclaimed wood, because we're in the reclaim it business. Stuff that would end up in a landfill somewhere, we get to take it and turn it over and use it in somebody's house, which is a lot of fun. One of our biggest tables, I always think about this when I see dining room tables, was a family. I remember a particular family that took a table that we had made. All right, so this guy, I call him Ahmad. He is from Iran, and he converted to Christianity from Islam, and the local government police found out about it, and they threw him in jail, and they beat him within an inch of his life. And they told him, you're going to have to recant your faith. You're going to have to turn away from this, and if you don't do this, we're going to get your family, and we're going to kill your family. And so Ahmad and his wife and his 2-year-old and his newborn daughter paid $6,000 to a smuggler to get out of Iran. They put them on a cargo ship where he thought they were going to come to the States, but instead they landed in Guatemala, where they then had to find their way to the border and then seek asylum. Ahmad and his family came through one of our agencies, and then were able to come to Flourish Furnishings to get their stuff. And so we were really honored to serve Ahmad and his family with one of those beautiful tables that had been created. So just a story of one of the families that we get to help. You never know what folks have gone through. I had one just 3 weeks ago, astounding to me. They were a family of 13, and you may have seen it in the news. They had an apartment fire, and they all had to jump off the second story, out of the second story window, and they had to drop their little newborn baby off of the second story. Everybody was fine, just so you know. But they came to Flourish Furnishings. They got a referral to us. It first came through the Red Cross and through another agency to us, and one of the fun things that we do. So I just happened to grab a photo of this real quick. These were just a couple of pieces. I watched the one in the bottom come in on donation, and it was just trash. It looked terrible. And these guys made it beautiful. You guys know how to do that. So Well, that's just a little bit of who we are and what we do. Again, we're volunteer run, so we need love and labor and creativity and the whole Kansas City community. I told these kids that were in the day, we were talking about homelessness a little bit, and they said, well, what do you do when you see a homeless guy on the corner? And I said, it's really hard, and I don't know the answer. I mean, I used to say, oh, always give them money, and then I said, well, I don't want them to go buy alcohol or drugs, but also, like, it's humanizing to have some change in your pocket. I don't know the answer. I don't really know the answer. I don't know what to do. But you know what I do know? I do know that 900 families this year are not going to be on the streets because of what we're doing at Flourish Furnishings. And so I can't fix it. I can't, I drive through this city and I see people suffering all around me, and I can't fix it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for the guy sleeping under the bridge. But I know I can come to Flourish. And I know I can get stuff in people's hands who need it. And I know that these families who may not have made it if they didn't have the resources that they had, I get to be a part of that. And Jim and Mark and any of you get to be a part of. So it's a lot of fun. So that's it for me. I know I've got a couple minutes left for questions. So I certainly invite your questions. So Mark.
Since I volunteer there, I want to put a pitch in that if there's anybody that's got some extra stains, little cans of stains, some paints, we go through those pretty fast, and all the refinishing, all the touching up that we do. So just something to think about.
I'm so glad you guys are here, because when it comes to specific needs, I don't really know all the answers. That was very helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
So how do the people get their furniture, their household stuff to their house from your warehouse?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Some furniture banks across the country all do delivery. That's an aspiration of ours to do that. It is a very expensive endeavor. The average is about $800 for a delivery. And so if we're serving 8 families a day, that's about $6,000 a day. It's a lot. So right now what we do is we ask our agencies to provide a truck or help them arrange a truck, usually a U-Haul, to help get them home. Agencies like Avenue of Life have their own trucks, and so they'll do delivery for them. But for a lot of folks, as part of their recovery process, whatever that might be, to budget, to find the funds, to arrange the truck, and then to get delivery. We do require that their truck be there when they shop, and so we actually load it onto the truck while they're shopping. And so when they're done shopping, their truck is pretty much ready to go. A few more minutes to load up, and then we send them off with love, and usually they're in their house by the end of the day.
Have you helped anyone Have you helped anyone who has been kicked out because of their sexuality and or gender identity?
Yes, we have. So we actually, I don't remember the name of the agency, but we have one agency in particular that is a partner agency with us that specifically serves LGBTQ kids, particularly ones who have been alienated from their families. And so it's a real privilege for us to serve them as well. Great question.
I'm thinking about kids especially, what would you say is your greatest need in terms of furnishing chairs, desks, all that kind of stuff that a lot of us have?
Yeah, so the question was what do we need the most? So I've been here a year, and every month it's different. I never quite know what to expect. I will say, in terms of housewares, we need all of it. Cookware, knives, silverware, dishes, small appliances, coffee pots, that kind of stuff. And so I regularly tell folks, like I don't know, for Thanksgiving, I told all my volunteers, I said, if you're having family Thanksgiving, make everybody bring that pan in the back of the cabinet that nobody uses and just give it away, let somebody use it. In terms of furniture, we always need wood furniture. We never have enough wood. So dining room tables, but especially dressers, small end tables, small coffee tables. It was fun actually. When I was looking at the cup and the spatula earlier, I was like, "Ooh, we could give that away to clients. Can you make me about 900 of those, please?" Yes, sir.
Where are you located at?
Oh, great question. So we are, thanks, Chris. We are in Grandview. So we're just right off of Red Bridge, right off of the just right outside of the triangle. So right off of Red Bridge Road. There we go. So 11971 Grandview. We accept drop-offs. You don't have to have an appointment. Tuesday through Saturday between 9 and noon. So there'll be somebody there to help you unload. And also, if you're interested in volunteering, Again, it's kind of nice to come down and have a tour first, but if you're brave and just want to show up and volunteer, you can always just show up and volunteer. There's a little place on the website where you can sign up to do that, so we kind of know that you're coming. I've got some business cards and some flyers that I'll leave here, so if any of y'all are interested, you can take it. You'll have the website and also my contact information. You can always email me.
Do you build any new furniture, or is it all refurbished?
So I think nearly everything we do is refurbished to some, like reclaimed, repurposed, some degree. I actually did just this morning, we've been low on bed frames, and I'm just trying to figure out how to solve this problem. And I just saw my friends over at Sleepyhead Beds, they actually build bed kits, and they do it with new lumber. And so I'm open to us building stuff that way, but for the most part, most of what we do is reclaimed stuff.
What kind of bed frames you need and size?
Queens and fulls are our highest demand bed frames, but also, twins and kings will take too, for sure. Thank you. Good question.
What's your relationship with Habitat for Humanity?
Yeah, so the question was about Habitat for Humanity. So they're great. They're great colleagues in the city. There's not a lot that we do with them. We've done a couple of joint events together because they take a lot of donations that we don't, like building materials, that sort of thing. And sometimes they can send furniture our way. Great partners, but yeah, not a lot. Most of the work that they're doing, they're not needing a furniture bank to get their homes put together. Yeah, good question. Yes, sir.
So let's say you've got a guy that's been living under a bridge for 15 years and he gets everything for a studio apartment. How long are they there before do they just walk away from all that in 3 weeks, or how do things go after they get it?
That's such a great question. So this was something, I think these are some things that we learned early on 14 years ago, is I think a lot of what they did early on was they would do a little bit of in-house case management, right? Where they'd say, all right, well, you just come in and we'll evaluate you and see what you need. And we realized early on that is untenable. There is an existing structure of social service agencies in this city. Let's rely on them for two things. One, to vet people, to make sure that they have a demonstrated need, but also to make sure that they've got wraparound services. And so nearly all of our agencies, if they're getting somebody out of a program, they have a certain level of confidence that they're going to make it, and they're also surrounding them with supports to help them make it. I don't know what the statistics are and how many folks make it. I do know that people are more likely to stay in their home if they have stuff in it. So we do know that. That's something that we know we can help. Exactly what the statistic is, I don't know. But it's one of the beautiful things of working with these agencies. Some of these agencies have been around for, Della Lamb, they've been around like 100 years. It's crazy how long they've been around. And they've done what they do for a long time. And so they really know how to make sure that folks have the supports that they need in place to stay in their home. Yeah, it would be heartbreaking to us. That's why we don't serve walk-ups, is because, we wouldn't want somebody to come in and get a house full of furniture and seat on the curb in a month. That would be really heartbreaking. So we want to make sure they've got good wraparound services. Yeah, good question.
You might have already touched on this, but how do we get you the stuff we want to donate? You have your drop off anytime, is that right?
Yeah, so Tuesday through Saturday between 9 and 12. So there's always somebody there at the dock. We got a big long wooden dock built by some outstanding woodworkers that you can drop off at. I never forget it when I walk on it. And that's the best way to get things to us. We have provided pickup service from time to time. It is a very difficult thing to staff, especially in a labor shortage. And so I've actually discontinued doing volunteer pickups temporarily while we're kind of looking for some volunteer drivers. Great time for me to mention, if anybody doesn't want to woodwork, but you want to drive, no CDL required, let me know. We like to do home pickups for folks if we're able to, but a drop-off for us is best. Yeah. Other questions?
I got a request.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've discovered since I've been there, and Mark will attest to, is the quality of our tools, because they've all been donated.
We're all Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me tell you, I really, I cough 3 times before I pick one of them up. Anyway, so if any of you have some decent hand tools, right now we're in dire need of a decent miter box, or any power tools. We've got Ryobi battery tools, which, not to be arrogant about tools or anything, but okay. So if anybody's got some tools that they'd like to donate, I'd be more than happy to converse with you about it. One of the other things I've learned about is finishing, and there's a couple of guys that, because I've learned what I learned from your class, Craig, was there's a lot I don't know, and getting over there was there's a couple people there that are just incredible finishers. Gary came up with this. We call it his woo-woo juice. I think it's vinegar, mineral spirits, and boiled linseed oil. And it stinks to high heaven. You can't get it off your hands right away, but it's just incredible what you can take a piece of scratched up a top of something and rub it out with that, and it's just amazing how it just renews it, refurbishes it. So those are some of the tricks I've learned. The other thing is that the dedication of the volunteers is I had some trepidation about, okay, I'm going to get involved. I'm involved, and it's been a real pleasure for me to work over there one day a week. Usually I go over there an extra day. So anyway, if anybody's got any tools,
900 spatulas. I think that's what I heard today. 900 spatulas.
If you knew how long it took me to make that one spatula.
Oh my guys figured. Woo, hand carved. All right. Well, Guy, I know your time is really valuable. Thanks for taking time to listen to what we do. I'm here because I love it. I just love serving the community like this and helping volunteers to, use your skills for good. It's awfully rewarding, and I certainly welcome any attention you'd like to give to what we do. So thank you again. Appreciate you all very much.
Rich, is this on? Yeah. Rich, thank you so much for being here on behalf of the Guild. So this is the only way you can get this coffee cup is to come present at the Guild. So it's our small token of appreciation. We can't thank you enough, and when we always do what we call a mug shot. So hold that up, and we can. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
All right, if that's our program for tonight, thank you all for being here. Of course, as always, if you can stay and help clean up, I'm sure there's flyers up here, so you can get information about Flourish or cards from Rich. So great to see everybody. Have a great night.